In today's video, we are going to jump back and look at the 2023 draft 1 year later and see what every team's best pick was of their draft, what made the most impact in their rookie season, and so on and so forth. You'll get the picture in a minute. Either way, before we get into this video, just another reminder, please help me hit that 1,000 sub mark. I'm on my way there, and as soon as I hit that, I will do a jersey giveaway. Also, check out the new podcast, Tuesday Night Takes, on my channel. It's will be posted weekly, and I'm really excited for it. So check it out, and let's get right into this video. So today we're going to use this CBS Sports article to go through every single team, and so I can tell you who I think the best pick was while you can still see the other options on the board. Starting out with the Dallas Cowboys. This article is ranking every team's draft class after the draft was over, so it's going to be ranked in out of 32, but those rankings are pretty much dead now considering it's over. So for the Cowboys, honestly, I have to say it's Mazi Smith. Simply because he's really the only one of these guys that legitimately played. Schoonmaker got in a decent amount, but, I mean, Jake Ferguson was their number one tight end. Mazi Smith at least has a role on the team right now. So, he has the Cowboy spot for sure. The next team is going to be the Houston Texans. There's no doubt who this is. This is C.J. Stroud. I mean, yes, he was picked. That's not correct, is it? That does not seem right. He was picked at number 2. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I guess it's maybe projected pick or something like that. Either way, he was picked at 2. And they would not have the success they had this year without C.J. Stroud. Now, if you want to go with like a value pick where they got the most value out of the thing, maybe you go with Henry To'oTo'o. He's been decent, or Tank Dell. Both were very good this year and were drafted a bit later. So we'll maybe give them some credit as well. New England, this one's a tough one. Sidy Sow did start quite a decent amount, and Keon White was pretty good himself, but I still personally have to go with Christian Gonzalez, even though he only played like 4 games. Dude looked like legit in the first 3-4 games of the year. He looked like he was going to be a real CB1 for the future for this team. And I've just got to give him credit for doing just that, at least for this New England Patriots defense. Moving on again, Seattle Seahawks. This one, a bit different. But, I mean, at the same time, I don't know. Like, none of these guys got any bit of consistent play enough to give them too much credit. I got to go with Witherspoon because he really made a case for himself as Defensive Rookie of the Year for a while there. He's not going to win it, but, I mean, a heck of a pick, and he's going to play out well, especially next to Tariq Woolen. Moving on, the Minnesota Vikings. This one's a tough one because they don't have as many picks to take from. Jaron Hall, I mean, he had to step in at one point. Jaquelin Roy, I believe, did play a little bit, but I have to go with Jordan Addison, especially for the fact that they lost Justin Jefferson this season. Had that not happened, they probably don't need Jordan Addison like they did this year, but he stepped in and looked like a real legit NFL wide receiver from the get-go. So, I mean, that's huge for them, and I think that's going to win their spot for the Vikings. Next, we have the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to go with Jonathan Mingo because he was a decent player, and I thought he was going to be pretty good coming out of this draft, and he played well this year when he got his chances. Bryce Young didn't really play well. DJ Johnson, Chandler Zavala, Jamie Robinson, none of them got to play a whole ton, so I have to give it to Jonathan Mingo for the Panthers. And then the Saints. This is an interesting one because they had a lot of guys actually play. Brian Bresee played. Isaiah Foskey got a decent amount of play time. I don't know how much Kendre Miller played, and I wish it'd be more because I did like him in college. But Jake Haener, obviously, no question there. A.T. Perry showed up at the last little bit of the season to actually be decent. He's a guy that I really like coming out of the draft in my pre-draft process, but he ended up falling all the way to round 6 when he was supposed to be around round 4. I'm going to go with Jordan Howden because he did end up playing a lot for them, and he looks like a pretty solid player. And they got him at apparently good value as well, considering he's supposed to be drafted a few picks earlier. After that, the Kansas City Chiefs, and this one is 100% Rashee Rice. I mean, these guys didn't do a whole lot, especially, like, none of these guys really stepped out. Chamari Connor did play well, I guess. He played a lot, but Rashee Rice would have, I mean, if he didn't play for them, their offense would have been atrocious this year. It would have been so much worse. The Jets, looking at this, I have to go with Joe Tippmann. He played a good amount, and, they would have been in a lot of pain without him. He at least stepped in, played some center. I think he might have played some guard as well, and that's a guy who, they're probably going to be a fixture on that line for a long time. The Commanders, this was a tough one because this draft class stank for them. I don't know how much any of these guys played, for sure. I don't know how much Stromberg played. I know Chris Rodriguez got some snaps here and there. Yeah, not a good look. These two guys did play a bit, and honestly, Emmanuel Forbes, probably not the best pick in the, they could have had. There was better corners on the board, but he's going to have to be their best pick so far because he's the only one that got legitimate play time. And, maybe you argue Martin played better than him, but he got the play time. He made the substantial effort, so we'll give it to him. Arizona Cardinals, this one I'm going to have to go with Michael Wilson. He played really well when he got his chances, and obviously a third-round guy, you get more value. Paris Johnson didn't quite play as well to be a first-round tackle. Not going to put that on him, though. He'll develop, I'm sure. B.J. Ojulari's fine. Garrett Williams, I like him in the future, but we have to see it from him some more. And, that's pretty good. So Michael Wilson, he looks like a guy who's going to stick around Arizona for a while and be some good help for Kyler Murray. Detroit, this one's tough simply because who do you pick on this list, man? All of these guys, up to here, are all huge in this offense and defense. And then Broderick Martin's a big player. This is a good draft class period. I'm going to have to go with Brian Branch because he did have the best value in terms of where he was. He was supposed to be a first rounder. I was expecting him to be an absolute lock in the first round. Was very shocked he got out of it and fell as far as he did into the second round too. And he's been a playmaker. You can argue Sam Laporta, he's been very good, or Jahmyr Gibbs even. But Brian Branch, you got to give it the value in terms of it. That's huge. That's amazing of a pick. The Bengals, I'm going to have to go with Andre Josephus played a decent amount. Chase Brown got some reps for sure. Charlie Jones is a returner for them. But Jordan Battle, to me, is probably the best one of these guys. He came in a little bit later on the season, but once he started playing, he looked really dang good. He looked like he was really an effective player and is going to be a good safety for this defense for a long time in Cincinnati. Miles Murphy didn't really get the chance to play too much due to the fact they have Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. And DJ Turner did start, but he was picked on quite a bit, so I don't know about him yet. He can develop, but we'll see. For the Ravens, interesting one here. This is really tough because, none of these guys, Zay Flowers obviously had a really good year. Trenton Simpson didn't need to play a whole lot. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Mine from this team is going to have to be Keaton Mitchell. I know he wasn't drafted. He was an undrafted free agent, but he was, so impactful. The second he got in there, the running game just took off even to a next level, and it sucked that he got hurt because that was a huge weapon. Zay Flowers, I will give it to him in terms of the actual draft picks because he's the only one that really did a whole lot, but Keaton Mitchell's that dude. He's going to be him for a while. Buffalo Bills. You can argue Dalton Kincaid, but he was a good draft pick where he was, and I don't discard that at all. Then Dorian Williams played decent when he got in, but I'm going to have to go with Osiris Torrance. I think he's a really good guard. I liked him coming out of the draft a lot. Who didn't? This guy's massive and an athlete. But, the value's pretty decent. I thought he might have slept his way into the very early second round, and he didn't. He got all the way to the back at pick 60 overall, and they got him there. So that should be pretty good. Tampa Bay. This one's really tough as well. Cody Mock is okay. He didn't play as well as I hoped he did. Kalijah Cansey, he's fine. Nothing special at this point, though. I'm going to have to go with Yaya Diaby. He had 7.5 sacks on the season, which is pretty good for a rookie, especially a third-rounder. Good value as a projection, at least. He had just a good year. So we'll give it to Yaya Diaby. For the Tennessee Titans, this one's not a question. Skoronski, good player. Will Levis, he'll be fine in the future. Tyjae Spears is their guy, though. He played so well, and he gave them, a lot of upside if they have to move off from Derrick Henry. Tyjae Spears looks like he's going to be a very good NFL running back for quite a while. The Atlanta Falcons, you can argue Clark Phillips. He played a good amount. Zach Harrison, I think he'll be a decent player, but not right now so much. Clark Phillips was a guy I really liked in the pre-draft as a nickel corner. I don't know that he played that much. I feel like he did play a lot of outside this year, so that's weird. Matt Bergeron did play really well, but it's going to be Bijan Robinson for them. He's going to win their little award here because just simply for the fact of this is a great player that you have. And yeah, he was underutilized, which is impressive that wins this award from me whenever he was underutilized. He still had over 1,000 yards, and we're still disappointed in how he looks. So, it is what it is. Chicago Bears, this one's interesting as well. They have a lot of guys down the board. Tyler Scott got some play. Noah Sewell, I don't know that he played too much. I feel like Terrell Smith did play, if I'm, getting that correct. Tyreek Stevenson, to me, is going to be their guy, though. He played well, got a good amount of turnovers, and just a good pick in terms of value to me. I know this one doesn't say that here, but I thought this guy could have swept into the back end of the first round, maybe early second, and he lasted all the way to their second pick of the second round. So that's pretty good for them. The Chargers, This one, Darius Davis had like 2 punt returns. You could already give him some credit. Dayan Henley, I liked him out of the draft. I don't really know how he did this year, though, to be quite honest. I don't really remember him playing much. But I'm going to go with Tuli Tuipulotu. He's just, he played well. Bosa was out for a good amount of the season. He got to play. So I'm going to give it to Tuipulotu. Miami, only 4 picks. Not a question here. Devon Achane. Great player. Did a lot for them. Made their running game elite. Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of different players here. I didn't realize they had this big of a draft class. Tank Bigsby's decent, but Anton Harrison's probably going to be my guy here. He's going to be a fixture for them, and considering how early Darnell Wright went, I didn't think that was a very good pick in my opinion, and it didn't play out the best this year. He looked okay, but not great. Anton Harrison could have gone just as high, so yeah, not a bad value there. The Los Angeles Rams, dang, you could argue Kobe Turner, Byron Young, both had really good years at their edge positions or whatever they play, D-line edge, whatever you want to call it, but Puka, it's him without question. Let's be real. This guy broke every rookie receiving record, it seems like. He has a very strong chance for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, it's a good year. It's just an all-around great year. Let's be real. Philly, still going to have to be Jalen Carter. He's Jalen Carter. Nothing else needs to be said. Moving on from there, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. And this one, Tyree Wilson, not the best showing this year. Michael Mayer, okay, didn't get a ton, though. Trey Tucker played a little bit. Jacorian Bennett played some, but I'm going to have to go with Aiden O'Connell. Is he great? Definitely not. But a lot of these guys didn't get to play a whole lot, so I can't really give them credit for something they didn't do. Aiden O'Connell at least played, and let's be real, they probably won more games than they were expected to. So, Aiden O'Connell, good job for what you did. Cleveland Browns. This one's probably going to have to be DeJuan Jones. He only played some games. He did get hurt, but he had like really good blocking grades throughout the rest of the season that he did play. And, he had played like 700 snaps. So that's a good chunk of the season. So, that's pretty good. I'll give it to him. Cedric Tillman can get some award, some credit, but I'm going to give it to DeJuan Jones. The Denver Broncos, not the best group here. Drew Sanders, I wish he would have played more, but he didn't just because their middle linebackers are, Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton, which are pretty solid. Marvin Mims is going to have to win it. He was a good receiving weapon for Russ this year, so that'll be good. Green Bay Packers, I loved Carl Brooks coming into the draft. Also, Tucker Kraft was interesting to me. Lucas Van Ness was a guy I liked in the first round. Maybe not to Green Bay just because they needed other options, but whatever, not my choice. I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft, though. Luke Musgrave did look really good and honestly probably will be the better tight end long term. But he didn't play as much as Tucker did because of his injuries, and Tucker played really well and looked really good as this draft went along. As the year went along, excuse me. So I'm going to give it to Tucker Kraft for Green Bay. And the San Francisco 49ers, it is definitely J.R. Brown. After Talanoa Hufanga went out with an injury, he played very well. He was just very good for them overall. And he's going to win their award for sure. The New York Giants, and this is not the most enticing draft class. Deonte Banks did not play out well. John Michael Schmitz didn't play great. I'm not going to put it on him, though. The offensive line had a lot of issues this year. I'm personally going to give it to Jalen Hyatt. Didn't play tons and tons, but when he did, he's a weapon. The speed he has, he's an absolute weapon. And if they can get a legitimate quarterback in New York, he can be a real problem for defenses in the NFL. The Colts, this is wow, that's a good draft class. I see a lot of guys down the board that they could have used at least. But this one's definitely going to be Josh Downs. He looks like a real legit NFL wide receiver. Wide receiver 2 potential for sure. And they got him, at a decent draft value if you look at the pick overall. So Josh Downs is going to be the best player in this class. Anthony Richardson obviously didn't really get a chance. Julius Brents did play decent, but Josh Downs played better, let's be real. Blake Freeland, also a good shout out here. And yeah, that looks pretty good. And finally, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This did rank him as the best class. I do agree. This draft class was insane. There's no way they should have gotten both Joey Porter Jr. and Broderick Jones. Keanu Benton was a second-round guy that he turned out very well. Darnell Washington is a monster. Nick Herbig, when he's played, considering he's behind Alex and TJ, he's been very decent. He was a second-round grade, and he's shown it. Every time he's on the field, he makes plays. Corey Trice, I wish we would have gotten to see him play more. We didn't, but it is what it is. But this one is 100% Joey Porter Jr. Effectively a first-round pick, but he lasted somehow. We landed Joey Porter Jr. somehow, some way. I don't know how. But Yeah, he's a monster. He had like some of the best coverage grades amongst all corners in the league, not just rookies. Very, very good year from Joey Porter Jr. He looks like he's going to be a lockdown guy for a long time. So Joey's going to be there, winner there. And either way, that's it for this list. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this list. Let me know who you think your team's best draft pick was in the 2023 NFL Draft, and maybe we'll go back and do some other draft classes here in the next couple weeks. Either way, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button, and I'll see y'all next time.